Charya Vaishnava Seva Nishtar Paye Chekeba Namasheshtam Manamapi Shachi Putram Akrasarupam Srirupam Tasyagrajam Urupari Maturim Goshtavatim Radha Kunam Girivadamaho Gadika Madhavasham Kapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Guru Tangatosmi He Guru Jnanadadina Bandho Swananda Tata Padanaika Sindho Vrindavanasti Nahita Patara Prasida Radha Pranaya Prachara He Dina Bandho Puranaika Sindho Guru Prasada Mai Mandamude Laksha Parade Pahupapadade Tatpala Padme Sumakishya Krishna Yadyapi Amar Guru Chaitanya Radas Tathapi Jani Ami Tahara Prakash Guru Krishna Rupaya Shastra Ratamane Guru Rupe Krishna Kripa Karena Bhakta Gane Shiksha Guru Keta Jani Krishna Rasarupa Antayani Bhakta Shrestha He Duri Rupa Daivo Payantya Pachitim Kavayasta Vesha Ramayushapi Kridam Ridam Udasmaranta Yotar Bahista Vigritam Ashubam Bajunvan Acharya Chaitya Bhapusha Swagatim Yanaki. Without serving the representative of Krishna, nobody can approach Krishna. I bow down to the beautiful lotus feet of my spiritual master, by whose causeless mercy I have obtained the supreme holy name, the divine mantra, the service of the son of Shachi Mata, the association of Srila Swarup Damodar, Rupa Goswami and his older brother Sanatana Goswami, the supreme abode of Mathura, the blissful abode of Vrindavan, the divine Radha Kunda and Govardhan Hill, and the desire within my heart for the loving service of Sri Radhika Madhava and Vrindavan. O spiritual master, O giver of divine wisdom, O friend of the fallen, you are the giver of your own bliss, and you are the only ocean of mercy. Although dwelling in Vrindavan, you have descended for the welfare of fallen souls like myself, and you are preaching the divine love of Radha for Krishna. Please be kind upon me. O friend of the lowly, O Gurudev, you are the only ocean of mercy. I am a dull fool and have committed hundreds of thousands of offenses. I have fallen into dense myriad of sins. Therefore grace me with your mercy so that my mind may be fixed on your lotus feet and on Sri Krishna. Although I know that my spiritual master is a servitor of Sri Chaitanya, I know him also as a plenary manifestation of the Lord. Every living entity is eternally a servant of Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Therefore the spiritual master cannot be other than a servant of Lord Chaitanya. The spiritual master's eternal occupation is to expand the service of the Lord by training disciples in the service attitude. According to the deliberate opinion of all revealed scriptures, spiritual master is non-different from Krishna. Lord Krishna, in the form of the spiritual master, delivers his devotees. The relationship of the disciple with his spiritual master is as good as his relationship with the Supreme Lord. Spiritual masters always represent themselves as the humblest servitors of the personality of Godhead. But the disciple must look upon the spiritual master as the manifested representation of Godhead. One should know the instructing spiritual master to be the personality of Krishna. Lord Krishna manifests himself as the Supersoul and as the greatest devotee of the Lord. The initiating spiritual master is a personal manifestation of Srila Madan Mohan Vigraha, whereas the instructing spiritual master is a personal representative of Srila Govinda Dev Vigraha. O my Lord, transcendental poets and experts in spiritual science could not fully express their indebtedness to you. even if they are endowed with the prolonged lifetime of Brahma. For you appear in two features, externally as the Acharya, and internally as a supersoul, to deliver the embodied living beings by directing him how to come to you. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace one can cross the ocean of material suffering and attain the mercy of Krishna. Our only wish is to have our consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is a perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens our darkened eyes and fills our hearts with transcendental knowledge. He is our Lord birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates, by him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, and the Lord and master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet, the famous by all of the three worlds. We take shelter of your lotus feet. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevalabha Gahati Sadma. Bando mui savadano mate. Jahara prasade bhai bhavato diyaja. Krishna prapti hoy jaha hoy se. Guru mukha padma vakya shikate koriya oikya. Padma Vakya Kate Koriya Aikya. Anakori ho mane asa. Anakori ho mane asa. Shri Guru Charane Rati Aise Sahamagati. Shri Guru Charane Rati Aise Uttama Bhati. Asha. Je prasare pure sarva. Jani loje, jani jani babu se. Dida jani re prokashito. Dida jani re prokashito. Prema bhakti daha hoite abhijami dasa jate. Prema bhakti daha hoite abhijami dasa jate. Vede jai jahara jarito. Vede jai jahara jarito. Sri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu. Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu. Lokana Kokera Divana. Lokana Kokera Divana. Prabhu Kora Doya Dehamure Padachaya Evijati Shivana Evijati Shivana Prabhu Kora Doya Dehamure Padachaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Namah Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamine Srimate Bhaktivedanta Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Sundavari Pashatyaritarine Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Krishna Chaitanya Panchatattva Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Prabhu Nityananda Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Nam Bhajan Hare Haraya Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namah Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namah Gopal Govinda Ram Sima Vishnudan Giridhari Gopinath Madan Mohan Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sita Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita Shri Rupanathan Bhakta Raghunath Shiva Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Jai Gosai Hari Bhadranath Mandan Jaha Hote Vignanash Abhishta Puran Jai Gosai Jar Muitar Das Tansabara Pararinu Mora Panchagran Tangara Karana Deve Bhakta Stanibar Janame Janame Hoye Avila Jai Gosai Jabe Bhajya Koilavar Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Koila Prakash Shri Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Koila Prakash Get ready! Bolo Anande Bolo Hare Bhaja Vrindavan 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 Shri Guru Vaishnava Parinodramiyamai Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Bhatma Kori Ash Hari Nam Sankirtan Kohe Narotamo Das Hari Nam Sankirtan Kohe Narotamo Das Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Go Premanande Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Paramahamsa Parivarshkacharya Stottar Shatashi Shrimad Abhay Charana Ravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivarshkacharya Stottar Shatashi Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Maharaj Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Sham Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki, Shri Mayapur Navadvip Dham Ki, Purushottam Kshetra Jagannath Puri Dham Ki, Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki, Yamuna Devi Ganga Devi Ki, Samaveda Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Madhava
Gopi Janna Vallabha Jaya Giri Vardhari. Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Jamuna Tiravanachari Jamuna Tiravanachari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Hare, Go Premanande, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Ujiraye. Dear devotees, today we're going to be reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, second chapter, one you know well, forwards and backwards, divinity and divine service. And today's text is number 24. And I'll read the translation first. Firewood is a transformation of earth, but smoke is better than the raw wood, and fire is still better. For by fire we can derive the benefits of superior knowledge through Vedic sacrifices. Similarly, passion, rajas, is better than ignorance, tamas. But goodness, sattva, is best, because by goodness one can come to realize the absolute truth. And now, let's do together, responsively, the word for word. Partivad. From earth. Darunaha. Firewood. Dhumha. Smoke. Tasmad. From that. Agni. Fire. Trayi. Vedic sacrifices. Maya. Made of. Tamasa. In the mode of ignorance. 2. But. Raja. The mode of passion. Tasmad. From that. Sattvam. The mode of goodness. Yat. Which. Brahma. The absolute truth. Darshanam. Realization. Can now turn the screen off. And now, please do the verse. Whoever can. No, just one at a time. Boldly and individually. Go. You started, you go. Huh? No phones. Partibhadarano dumast. Tasmad Agnistri Mayaha.
Tamasastu rajastasmad.
Tamasastu rajastasmad.
Sattvam yad brahmadarshanam.
Sattvam yad brahmadarshanam. Akor.
Parthivadarano dhumas
Parthivadarano dumas.
Tasmad Agnistrimayaha
Tasmad Agnistrimayaha.
Tamasastu Rajas Tasmad
Tamasastu Rajas Tasmad.
Sattvam Yad Brahma Darshanam.
Satvanya Brahmanarashna. Now, two from the Vaishnava section of the room. Go ahead.
Parthivadarano dumas
Parthivadarano dumas.
Tasmad Agnitrimayaha
Tasmad Agnistrimayaha.
Namastastu Rajas Tasmad
Tamasastu Rajas Tasmad.
Sattam Yad Brahma Darshanaham.
Sattvam Yad Brahma Darshanam.
Parthivadarano dhumas
Parthivadarano dumas.
Tasmadagnistriimaya
Tasmadagnistrimayaha.
Tamasastu rajas tasmad
Tamasastu Rajas Tasmad.
Sattvam yad brahma darshanam.
Sattvam Yad Brahma Darshanam. Okay, now somebody do the word for word. Where's Aname? Okay, give it to Aname. He'll do the word for word. No phone. Thank you.
Okay, Parthivadarano dhumas. Also, really quickly, I just noticed something in the word to word that was kind of cool. So, just like the first word, Parthivad, so just like there's the word Pritha in Bhagavad Gita, and from that we get Partha. So, I just realized that Parthivad also, because it's from the earth, so that comes from Prithvi, which is another word for the earth. So, that was something cool. Anyway, I just realized that right
No,
now.
this is good. Keep going. Very, very good. You're getting from the front row here.
Okay. Anyway, so Parthivadarano dhumas. So greater than the earth is smoke, tasmat agnistrayamaya, and greater than that tasmat. So tasmat is refers to that smoke, and then greater than that smoke is agni. Tasmat agnistrayamaya. Tamasastu rajas tasmat. And so similarly, greater than ignorance is passion, and greater than passion is goodness, because sattvam yad brahma darshanam. Because by goodness you can realize Brahman, or you can realize the self. So.
And Traimayaha?
I'm not sure. So Trimaya means Maya means it's like composed or made of three. I'm not sure what that refers to. So.
Okay. Shraddha has an answer.
So Trey is referring to the three Vedas, and so three Vedic sacrifices mentioned in the three Vedas.
Because you can perform Vedic sacrifice with fire and thus derive the ultimate benefit of life, right? Okay, very nice. Very good. From now on, no more phones and no more screen. You got to study at home. Okay? Say yes. No more phones. For the rest of the day, no scrolling. This is no scrolling day from now to the midnight tonight. No, until the next morning. Okay? Say yes. Yes. I need a verbal yes from everybody. Yes. Okay, thank you. Okay, firewood is a transformation of earth, but smoke is better than the raw wood, and fire is still better. For by fire we can derive the benefits of superior knowledge through Vedic sacrifices. Similarly, passion, rajas, is better than ignorance, tamas, but goodness, sattva, is best, because by goodness one can come to realize the absolute truth. Srila Prabhupada's purport. As explained above, one can get release from the conditioned life of material existence by devotional service to the personality of Godhead. It is further comprehended herein that one has to rise to the platform of the mode of goodness, sattva, so that one can be eligible for the devotional service of the Lord. But if there are impediments on the progressive path, anyone, even from the platform of tamas, can gradually rise to the sattva platform by the expert direction of the spiritual master. Sincere candidates must therefore approach an expert spiritual master for such a progressive march, and the bona fide expert spiritual master is competent to direct a disciple from any stage of life, tamas, rajas, or sattva. It is a mistake, therefore, to consider the worship of any quality or any form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is a mistake, therefore, to consider that worship of any quality or any form of the Supreme Personality of God is equally beneficial. Except Vishnu, all separated forms are manifested under the conditions of material energy, and therefore the forms of material energy cannot help anyone to rise to the platform of sattva, which alone can liberate a person from material bondage. The uncivilized state of life, or the life of the lower animals, is controlled by the mode of tamas. The civilized life of man, with a passion for various types of material benefits, is the stage of rajas. The rajas stage of life gives a slight clue to the realization of the absolute truth in the forms of fine sentiments in philosophy, art, and culture with moral and ethical principles. But the mode of sattva is a still higher stage of material quality, which actually helps one in realizing the absolute truth. In other words, there is a qualitative difference between the different kinds of worshipping methods, as well as the respective results derived from the predominating deities, namely Brahma, Vishnu, and Hara. I offer my respectful obeisances to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, to all the previous acharyas, and to all the assembled devotees. Vancha kalpadurubhascha kripasandabhi evacha patitanam pavanibhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. And before I make any comments, I'll just check and see if anybody has any questions. Yes? 1, 2.
I'm not very clear on this sentence which said that Rajas gives a slight clue of the realization of the absolute truth. To I think I don't remember the whole sentence, but
I'll read it for you. The civilized life of man with a passion for various types of material benefits is the stage of Rajas. The Rajas stage of life gives a slight clue to the realization of the absolute truth in the forms of fine sentiments in philosophy, art, and culture with moral and ethical principles. But the mode of sattva is still a higher stage of material quality.
so I was not very clear how Rajas is giving clues to the realization of absolute truth.
Well, the key words here are in the forms of sentiments in philosophy, art, and culture, and moral and ethical principles. So we could think of moral principles. They are metaphysical in nature because as a moral principle, you think of justice. Justice is not dravya. It's not something grossly material. In fact, one may ask, what is justice anyway, and how might one measure it? It's beyond the gross material senses in that it is virtue for its own sake. It's the idea of morality. And where do we get that sense from? Is it from bestiality? Is it from animality? Animals don't necessarily have a code of ethics or morals. They don't have courts systems set up, except for maybe dogs, I don't know. I've seen them. They kind of hold court when they're in packs. The human beings also have a sense of aesthetics, beauty, sentiment for the fineries of art and music and so forth. Of course, there are various gradations in all of it, in all sections. Nonetheless, the idea that there's something sublime comes up within this framework that Prabhupada's talking about in the form of human sentiments for art. It means something to people to open a museum or a library. This is touching the sense of sattva, that there's something beyond just the mundane. And therefore, it's a hint, because when you then look at the library, which I do sometimes, walk through the aisles and look at all the books, you'll find that 99.9% or maybe 108% relates to material topics. It doesn't transcend. And what to speak of even those topics which are about self-realization. Naishkarmyam apyachuta bhava varjitam nashobhate jnanam alam niranjanam. They don't quite break the barrier. But the hint is there, that this is the inclination of the human spirit to go beyond. Prabhupada was invited to the conference in Japan, circa 19, I don't remember which year, 60-something. It was cultivation of the human spirit. And this is the idea. In various places, people will hold these types of programs. Prabhupada wanted to go there and say, okay, that's good, but here's better. Yeah. Brajaras Bhavana, did you have your hand up? Okay.
In the purport, it said that with the use of material energy, I think one cannot go to sattva. And I was wondering that I see in the world that there are many people that may be atheists or are not really in touch with any kind of spirituality, but they do cultivate good values and seem to be living a life of goodness. How can we reconcile the two?
In that, think of the verse, yes, bhaktir bhagavati akinchana sarva gunas tatra samasate sura harava bhakta sukuto mahadguna manoratena siti davato bihi. This verse from the 5th canto, 5:18-12, says that there's a way in which those who don't have firm footing in the process of devotional service, transcendental service, they will be on a moving vehicle, manoratenasati. And so it's a metaphor for the mind that's always moving. Krishna mentions in the Bhagavad Gita that the modes, this 14th chapter of the Gita, are always battling for supremacy. If you're working on a chemical experiment, I don't know the terminology for it, but there's a way in which certain substances are at odds with one another. And they may be in a kind of revolution that they're changing back and forth, back and forth. And in a similar way, Krishna says these modes of nature, rajas, sattva, rajas, and tamas, sometimes he says sattva is predominant, and other times rajas takes the lead, and then tamas jumps to the top. There's an upsurge of tamas. We see in the cycle of the day that happens, in the cycle of the year, in the cycle of the yugas, there are these various changes that take place. And even during the day, there are muhurtas, people who study the ways in which the material energy moves and how we're affected by the modes of material nature, look into that very carefully, what muhurta to start something, because the modes are shifting. So manoratenasati davato bihi means that there's a way in which those, even if they achieve some sattva in their life, they'll be overcome again by the lower modes of material nature because they have no locus standi. There's no place for them to be steady, no nishta, which means a place to stand, which comes only from being connected to Krishna and having fixity in the process of service. Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana. Or Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that if somebody doesn't have fixity in the process of worshiping Krishna, then by nature, bhogaishvarya prasaktanam taya parhita chetasam, they won't be able to achieve this fixity because they'll constantly be pushed by the modes of material nature from one level to the next. So it doesn't mean that they won't show good qualities, but they'll be defeated again. If I could count, if I had a nickel for every time I had a relative or a friend tell me they're vegetarian and then they changed their minds. Later, I had a relative tell me after they watched some movie, it was about a pig. It was a really nice pig. And he had, anyway, without the details of the pig story, he got so enamored of pigs, he told me, I'll never eat meat again. And it didn't last. It was a little flash of concern for other living beings, kind of twinge of the mode of goodness, and then meh. So that's the situation. Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Very beautiful verse with that beautiful analogy. It's always very striking when Bhagavata mentions. One question from the purport, Maharaj. There it is mentioned, one has to rise to the platform of mode of goodness so that one can be eligible for devotional service of the Lord. We hear statements of this type, that Brahmabhuta Prasannatma, only on the platform of Brahmabhuta can we actually begin devotional service. We also hear in the third canto, Bhakti in the three modes. Prabhupada also mentions there are two types of pure devotees, one who is attained pure devotion and one who is trying for pure devotion. How do we reconcile these statements, Maharaj? That Bhakti begins only after we attain Brahmabhuta stage. At the same time, those in the modes also are performing Bhakti, and eventually, is it once in a while when we are in Sattvagun we flash like that?
Devotional service is not affected by the modes of material nature, but this verse gives an analogy that we can relate to, that when we're properly prepared, then it can conflagrate. It comes as a small spark, but if a spark, Prabhupada says, lands on bare ground, it won't start a fire. But if it lands on dry grass, then it'll burn. So Krishna says in the Gita, Yesham tvantakatam papam jananam punyakarmanam te dvandva mohanir mukta bhajanti mam dridhavrta. When one is solidly situated in the mode of goodness, then when the spark of bhakti touches one, you'll notice that they immediately become activated in the process, and they can come to that level very quickly. All forms of bhakti are permanent. We find that they're never lost, even in the cases where they land in somebody who is not yet prepared to take to bhakti. But when they do prepare themselves after they've received that, then progressively they'll be able to increase the level of bhakti that they practice. Therefore, it's mentioned by Kapiladev, the levels of preparedness, the bhakti's there, but it gets expressed through the mode of ignorance, through the mode of passion, through the mode of goodness. And then when it's transcendental, it breaks free and has its own symptoms. Avyavahita. Yeah, it's mentioned in that verse that if one even one time hears, then he becomes attracted. So that's the case when somebody's purified. And it is an aspect of devotional service that Krishna recommends himself. That is, that we should cultivate the mode of goodness very deliberately in all that we do. He names in the 11th canto 10 ways in which, as samples, that we should interact with the world in sattva. He mentions things like the water we drink. It should be pure. So don't drink Coca-Cola. And don't drink Gatorade. I can make a long list here. Stand by. Don't drink Scotch whiskey. You'll die behind the wheel. So these are all contaminated forms of water, Krishna says, when he's telling Uddhava. He says there's pure water, rasomhamsakonteya, is contaminated water. So all these other waters, they are sort of representative of our pure state. But when they get mixed with something else, then they become contaminated. So he said, even in our interactions in the world, we should be careful to drink pure water. Then he talks about association. There's levels of association in the mode of ignorance, passion, goodness, and then, of course, through sadhu sangha. So he said one should cultivate goodness in drinking and eating in the place you live. Don't live in a pigsty. And also be very clean, everything you do. These are Krishna's admonitions, and he devotes a section of his teachings to Uddhava to describe the ways in which one can cultivate sattva. So it's necessary. And mad bhaktim labate param means then you come into bhakti proper at that point. When you're able to mam chaya vyavicharina bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samvatityaitan brahma bhuya kalpase, then mad bhaktim labate param. Then you can freely give yourself to bhakti, nothing, no restraints. In fact, in the Madhurya Kadambini, we find there are various levels. Adao, Shraddha, Tata, Sadasangata, Bhajana, Kriya, Tato, Nartan, Nivriti, Satato, Nishta, Ruchi, Stata, etc. And as he unfolds the levels before our eyes in the book Madhurya Kadambini, he mentions how one may be restricted in full-blown bhakti because of some contamination that's still there. So it's a progressive path of purification that one must undergo. And in an abbreviated way, it's mentioned as Nashta Prayusha Bhadrishu, etc. Because Nashta Prayusha Bhadrishu means that you're getting there. Nashta Prayusha Bhadrishu, it's almost gone. You can notice that some of it's gone. Nashta Prayusha Bhadrishu Nityam Bhagavata Seva Bhagavat Yutama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashki, then Tada Rajas Tamo Bhava Kama Lobhadayashe Cheta Eter Anavidam Stitam means situated, Sattve. Now this is interesting because our acharyas say, it's in the commentary, the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, this Sattve is not the mode of goodness in the material world. It's Shuddha Sattva. Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma. What is it? Prema Suryatma Samyabhag. There's a way in which when you break through past the material sattva into Shuddha Sattva, there's a ray of prema that comes down, or is already there, that it's coming from the internal energy and it touches the heart, melts the heart, mrishingya, the heart becomes soft. And then one's able to experience bhava. But even in those states, then one has to progress further. And this all has to do with purification, ostensibly from previous offenses, especially to Vaishnavas. And then until one comes to the completely pure stage and sees Krishna face to face, then one is known at that point to have crossed over the modes of material nature, what to speak of all last remnants of offense that one may have committed along the way. Sattva guna. We should cultivate it. That's why, especially in our temple and in our homes and our cars and everywhere else, we should take trouble to make sure it's very clean. And we see in Raghava Pandit, remember Raghava Pandit? Did you ever go to Panihati? If you haven't been to Panihati, you got to go because it's the most amazing temple anywhere. It's right on the Ganga. Anyway, the story of Raghava Pandit's there in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that he went out of his way to make sure he got first-class ingredients to offer to his deities. And he would go 5, 6, 7 villages away to make sure he got the best mangoes. And they were very expensive, and it was great trouble to do it, to offer to his deities. And one day he saw his servant handling the mangoes that he had brought back, and the servant had put his hand on the door jamb above the door, and then he touched the mangoes. And Raghava Pandit was so disgusted, he took the whole batch and threw them over the wall and said, now they're useless. And Prabhupada quotes Srila Bhaktisiddhanta saying, this is not some kind of germophobia. This is a sensitivity to the purification in the heart where we're constantly cultivating the cleanliness, the clarity of sattva so that we can offer Krishna the best of the best with clarity and not do it in a sloppy way. So we're given this opportunity to live in an environment where we're worshiping Krishna. That's why in the Panchratrik Vidya you have to get training. You have to be a Brahmin before you go on the altar with your boots on, mentally or that's your attitude, you have to be very refined. And, when you go there, you have to say mantra to purify yourself. You have to touch water. And then you have to have the proper mentality that I'm only here on behalf of my spiritual master. I somehow or other, by good fortune, I'm allowed to come here and offer. These are all the subtleties of purification that have to take place in order to offer bhakti proper, or offer bhakti, or properly offer Krishna from our heart. Whatever dravya we give, it should be done with bhakti. And if we're impure, then it's not so nice. Was there any other question? Yes. Sadhu. The new sadhu. Sadhu's ever fresh.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
You were talking about Shuddha Sattva, and there's a verse that we learned in New York, Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam Yadiyate Tatra Puman Pavrita, which talks about basically, I offer obeisance to the Lord in pure Krishna consciousness, and Krishna consciousness, pure consciousness that removes the covering from the Lord. So, to what extent does goodness, the mode of goodness, to what extent does it reveal the Lord, and to what extent can we, perform pure devotional service in the mode of goodness compared to Shuddha Sattva?
The difference between Sattva and Shuddha Sattva is that Sattva is subjected to contamination by the lower modes of material nature. So again, it's a chemistry experiment. There's complete isolation in Shuddha Sattva where there's no opportunity for Rajas and Tamas. It's beyond that. And that, as we just talked about, Tada Rajas Tamo Bhava Kama Lobhadya Cheta Eter, the heart, Cheta, and the consciousness, Cheta Eter Navidam Stitam Sattve Prasidati. There is a platform that one reaches where one is no longer assailed by the lower modes of material nature. And that's what that means. So, Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam Yad Iyate Tatra Puman. Apavrita means uncovered. From that position, then Krishna is visible, because the heart is a mirror, and we don't see perfectly through the mirror when it's contaminated by the lower modes of nature. But Cheto Darpana Marjanam, when it becomes purified, then we naturally not only see ourselves, but we also see Krishna, the source of ourself, quite naturally. That's what Shiva is saying in that verse, that once you reach that platform, then you're able to see Krishna clearly. And to what degree, you said, do we see Krishna? Well, to various degrees. As was indicated in this verse, even from Rajagun, there's some inclination, an inkling into something beyond the gross. Tamas just means you're in complete darkness, like an animal attached to. Ni hao. She just came back from China. So even from Rajas, there's some inkling. It's here. Would speak of Sattvagun, Sattvam Yad Brahmadarshanam. That's what the verse says today. So one can understand that I'm not my body, at least from that position. Sattvam Yad Brahmadarshanam. But when there's complete purification, then one sees more. It's all revealed. Yes? It's all revealed means Krishna's revealed. Apavrita.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So I have the question regarding the second paragraph of the purport. So it specifies like it is a mistake therefore to consider that worship of any quality or any form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is equally beneficial. Except Vishnu, all separated forms are manifested under the condition of material energy, and therefore the forms of material energy cannot help anyone to rise to the platform of sattva, which alone can liberate a person from material bondage. So only Vishnu is given as exception.
What?
Only the Vishnu is given as exception, right? Yeah, for
Yes.
the worshipping.
Yes.
So and how the others are connected to the material energy. So can you give some elaborated information?
Well, here specifically, we could think of a concept Prabhupada offers throughout his purport. It's called Pancha Upasana. And this means that there are people who don't have proper discrimination or proper guidance in how to achieve the perfection of life, and therefore they, with faulty information, think that worshipping any form can elevate one to the next level, which is nirvishesh. Their goal is something absurd, that I'll come to the point of having no qualities, and furthermore, God, who I am, I'll become aware of the fact, or it's a amorphous concept, so it's really hard to get your head around. Krishna says that in the Gita, 12th chapter, Klesho dikartarastesham avyakta sakta chetasam. If you're trying to think of something that's non-manifested, good luck. It's not going to work out very well. And so people have this misconception that any form will do. But what's being pointed out here at Naimisharanya, everyone wants to hear, where do we place our attention? What's the ultimate object of meditation? So he's making it very clear. Safram rajastamaiti prakritir gunastayar yukta para purusha eka ihasidate stityade hari varinchi hareti samja shreyamsi yatra kalu safatanur nirnam suhu, which means that there's if you look in Hinduism, you've got Shiva, and you can see Shiva everywhere. In India, people's like, Shiva. We're standing in the middle of a field down in Mysore, watching the sunrise Sayar Gayatri. Middle of a field. There's nobody else around. We saw a man tooling along on his moped, or whatever they call them in India. What's it called? Moped? And he comes up to us, and he looks at us, and he goes, Shiva is number one. He came all the way over to tell us that, eh? So people, they worship Shiva. They also worship Shani. I was out in front of, where did we get that permit for Costco? Not Costco, we had Walmart. Walmart, big mistake, they gave us permission for 5 years to stand in front of their store and sell books, and I was out there one day. Where? Story Road. Walmart. Walmart Story Road. Anyway, this guy, I showed him a book, and he goes, let me show you something. And he opens his wallet, and he pulls out a picture of Shani, Saturn. And he goes, yeah, I worship Shani. And so I was like, yeah, how'd you get into that? Maybe if I have a few days to kill, I'll ask you sometime. And so people have all these misconceptions, and at Naimisharanya, they wanted to clear it up. And they asked him, where do we place our attention? There are all these literatures. In fact, even in the Vedas, you'll find people come along and say, look, here's the Shiva Purana, and here's this and that. It says Shiva supreme. It says Devi supreme. All these. So you have to have an education before you move up to the next levels to understand, like mathematics. What does it all mean? If you go into the higher classes and you go like, you guys are doing nonsense here. This doesn't make any sense, these squiggly lines. It's 2 + 2 = 4. And so they're getting that truncated education there at Naimisharanya. He's pointing out that this is the only place to place your attention, and shows historically Bejare Muniyo Tagre Bhagavantam Adhuksadam Sattvam Vishuddham Shemaya Kalpanteyin and Taniha. And the other one we just mentioned, where he very specifically says there's Shiva worship, there's Brahma is there. But none of these will be able to take you beyond the modes of material nature. And then he also mentions Bejare, Muniyo Tagre. Munis previously, they always worshipped Vishnu because they knew he's beyond the modes of material nature, and therefore they could attain the highest benefit by worshiping him. So this is what's being delineated here, and it's a revelation to see how many people worship whimsically, and they just pick anything, anyone. And so what's being said is that don't be whimsical. Find out who's really beyond the modes of material nature and place your attention there. Yanti deva vrta devan, pitrin yanti pratir vrta, bhutani yanti bhuteja, yanti mam yajino pimam. Because it's consequential where you worship, where you give your attention, because you're going to go there. And everything's going to follow accordingly, according to your worship. So worship Vishnu. Now, some say, well, Lord Chaitanya went to all these demigod temples, and the gopis worship Katyayani, right? Say yes. And so, what's that all about? Well, the point is that one should understand their relationship to Krishna. What did the gopis, if I may be so bold to even mention them, say? Please, they asked Katyayani, please let Krishna be my husband. And what was Lord Chaitanya appreciating the demigods for, these various temples, is because they're servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If one has that clear conception, for instance, if you arrange your altar at home, and then you put Krishna, and then you put Lord Shiva on the same level, you've made a mistake. You keep your demigods, but put them across. After you offer everything to Krishna, you can take the prasad and offer it to your Lord Shiva deity, if you're so inclined. They are servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There's a hierarchy, and it all ends in Goloka Vrindavan. Goloka namni nijadamni taleta tasya devi mahesha haridam suteshu teshu te prabhavanichaya vihitascha yena Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. And if you don't get that part and you mix it all together, then you'll be cheated. Focus in one place. Yes, Abai, and then Shipra.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
I was wondering about the cultivation aspect, specifically to cultivate yourself to a higher mode of one of the material natures. In Madhurya Kadambini that you're quoting, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur references a verse from Bhagavatam 11th canto. I'm forgetting the verse, but it states that cultivation of knowledge and renunciation are avoided by the devotees because Bhakti Yoga is the primary path. And this is also in like Jnana Karma Adhinavritam, where it's not covered by Jnana or Karma. So I was wondering how the cultivation of progressing on these material modes of nature connects to Bhakti Yoga.
Well, say the last sentence again, because I just want to check the premise. The last sentence only.
How does cultivating yourself through the modes of material nature connect to Bhakti Yoga?
Well, cultivating anything that you see in the world and anything you touch in relationship to Krishna is effective. Based on the principle Krishna brings in the Bhagavad Gita, that whatever you use, Brahmarpanam, Brahmahavir, Brahmagnau, Brahmanohutam, Brahmaiva, Tenagantavyam, Brahma Karma, Samadhina. He says, any dravya, material thing that you use in the service of Krishna becomes spiritualized, because Janmadya Sayataha, everything comes originally from Krishna. It's also part of his energy. The mistake is, illusion means Ritertam yat pratyeta na pratyeta chatmani tadvidyada manomhayam yatabhaso yatatamaha, which means everything comes from Krishna, everything's within Krishna, confirmed in the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita and elsewhere. But if you see something separate, then that's illusion, that's darkness. However, if you understand everything's relationship to Krishna and you use it in his service, then Brahmarpanam Brahmahavir, Brahmagnau Brahmanohutam. He's talking, giving a metaphor about using material things, like you do a homa and you go and you get a coconut. Material or spiritual is a coconut. maybe both. Then, the spoons, they're made out of wood. And then you've got sand, and you've got colors, and you've got flowers and all that. And then you got the people sitting there. Are they material or spiritual? Well, Krishna's, they're marginal. So it means in the verse, and Prabhupada's purport, he said, anything can be reclaimed in its original spiritual nature by using it in service to Krishna. So if somebody's cultivating the mode of goodness and their intention is to increase their business at their health food store, that's a little different than cultivating anything, goodness included, in order to make a preparation for Krishna that is nice and clean. So the application of renunciation, for instance, you may make the argument, jnana karma jnanavritam, which is what you're pointing out. We should be free from jnana, karma, all these ideas. In jnana, the idea is renunciation. And Rupa Goswami says in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that in the beginning you may need some kind of renunciation. We don't emphasize it. We emphasize attachment to Krishna. But in the beginning you may need that to get started. And therefore it's not frowned upon because you're using it as a means to get a foothold in the practice of bhakti yoga. And touch tradadhana munio jnana vairagya yuktaya pashyanti atmani chatmanam bhaktya shuddha grihitaya. There's a way in which Sutta Goswami adds this in the mix, right, of the divinity and divine service, that you need to be fortified with jnana and vairagya. But what's the fortification for it? So that you can properly stay on the path of bhakti. So those concomitants that come from practicing bhakti, and obviously we should cultivate them as well, because Krishna wouldn't have taken so much trouble to talk to Uddhava about it in the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, about cultivating goodness. He deliberately and purposefully says that we should do that. But the purpose is in order to be able to serve Krishna purely. Of course, if you chant the holy name, you'll become purified. Cheto tarpana marjanam, right? But oftentimes people who are in the mode of passion and ignorance, especially affected by those, I notice they have a hard time. Have you ever noticed you sat down to chant Hare Krishna and your mind went somewhere else? Has that ever happened to anybody? It's an effect of the mode of passion. If you look at random images, your mind's going to be addicted to them, and then when you start trying to look at one thing, your mind's going to say, no, thank you. I want more variety. And there's no end to it in the mode of passion. It's like, so if our mind's affected in that way, having some recourse, even in the Pancharatric system, you go into the Pancharatric, we have simplified form, but the Hari Bhakti Vilas has all kinds of ways in which we should adjust our lifestyle. And even when you sit down to do puja, we don't do all these things. Prabhupada simplified it for us. So did Lord Chaitanya. But there's a way in which you're supposed to do some meditation before you start worshiping your deities. You know that? Even there's pranayama. And there's all kinds of things that you can do. We depend mostly on the holy name, but I'm just saying that even in our Pancharatric system, there's ways in which you try to adjust everything so that you can have that pure concentration on the Lord. And so the general principle of Pancharatric practice, along with Bhagavat Marg, is one of the hallmarks of the teachings of Jiva Goswami, as you well know. So why is that? It's because chanting Hare Krishna is sufficient for everything, correct? Say yes. However, can you chant Hare Krishna? And so what Jiva Goswami says, Lord Chaitanya says in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, you don't need initiation for chanting Hare Krishna. It's Krishna self-manifested personally in the holy name. Why would you need initiation? You can just say Hare Krishna. But then he says, no, you have to have it, because in this age, they're not pure enough to just chant Hare Krishna. So you have to have a lifestyle adjustment. Otherwise, if you don't, you're going to end up tumbling out of bed at 10 a.m. I don't know, maybe you do that anyway, but you have to get up at Brahma Muhurta. That's Panchratrik system, because there's a morning program, Mangalartik, there's all these things. What's all this thing? Don't eat meat, fish, or eggs. Or, if you want to ruin everything, eat garlic, then you can't even taste anything, and then you stink all day long. But anyway, the fact is that these are all ways in which we're holding back the impulses that are already there within the mind and senses to try to mix it up with the lower modes of material nature, so we can get a little opening where we can chant Hare Krishna with attention and with purity. And then everything takes place from that position, if you can chant Hare Krishna purely. I can never tell if you're satisfied or not at the end. Did that help in answering your question? Yes? Shastasar, is he telling me the truth? You know him, okay. All right, anything else? Yes, 1, 2. Oh, it's your turn, Shipra. Yeah, sorry. Hare Krishna.
So I completely understand that Krishna is above all the lords.
That's good.
So, but like in our in other verses of Bhagavatam, we say that Krishna doesn't reveal himself, and in order to really.
What do you mean he doesn't reveal himself?
I'm sorry, I don't know the verse, but there was a gist. Let me just kind of.
Okay.
So we say that Krishna doesn't reveal himself, but the only way to know Krishna is through his devotees. That's how, your bhakti can grow through association with the devotees, through serving the devotees. And we praise so much about devotees, right?
Move that down, yeah.
Like Krishna is...
Now move it up.
Yeah. So, Krishna really... the only way to progress in your bhakti is through the devotees. Right? Because, but at the same time, there is mention about this in Bhagavatam also, that Lord Shiva meditated upon Krishna, so he was a devotee. Or Hanuman is supposed to be a bhakt of Rama, so they are also devotees. But we, on the one hand, our living devotees, we keep them so high up, saying this is Krishna is even more happy when you serve the devotees than when you serve Krishna himself. Right?
Yeah. Yes.
But when we talk about these really established devotees like Lord Shiva or Lord Hanuman, who are also mentioned in Shastra for their devotion towards Krishna and Rama, we kind of take I don't know, it appears to be like a negative stand, but I don't know. And it kind of confused me.
I understood everything up till negative stand. Who takes a negative stand?
I don't know. We say that it's well, that was my perception. Maybe I need clarification on my own understanding.
Yeah. Thank you. An important question. That bhakti is personal and has to do with our relationship with Krishna. And when you have a relationship with someone, if you understand what their values are, and then you adjust yourself according to their values, then you can very easily be close to them. And Krishna makes known in various places, in various ways, that what's most dear to him is his tadiya. Aradhananam sarvesham Vishnu aradhanam param. This is Shiva talking to Parvati. Tasmat paratanam devi. See, he's talking to Devi. Tadiyanam samarchana. He says, what's the best kind of worship? She wants to know. And he said, Devi, best kind of worship is to worship those things that are most dear to Krishna. Similarly, it's love me, love my dog, Prabhupada used to say. If you walk up to a stranger on the street and you say, hey, how much money you make? They might just walk past you. But if you walk up and you say, is that a Datsun? That's kind of dog, by the way. It's car also, but they don't make them anymore. And you say, is that a Datsun? He sounds like, what a shiny coat. He's beautiful. What's his name? You're not talking to the person, but I guarantee if you do this experiment tomorrow, you'll find that people immediately warm up to you and they'll say, oh, yeah, you like my dog? And then, they'll say, well, when do you come over to my house? If you like my dog, I like you. And so Prabhupada gave that principle. We see it in the Adi Purana. Krishna directly says, those who say they're my devotees aren't my devotees, but those who say the devotees of my devotees, they're my devotees. In the story of Shrutadeva and Bahulashva, you find that Krishna went personally to see them because of their worship. So yeah, he did come directly and reveal himself to both of them. In the course of Shrutadeva offering his prayers to Lord Krishna at his house, Krishna stopped him. And he said, you're saying too much about me and not enough about the sages. Glorify them. He shows he's a person, and he most appreciates his devotees. So there's this clear system. It's not even system, it's just natural, that if you appreciate the devotees, then Krishna will appreciate you. There's even more esoteric points there that Krishna wants to serve his devotees, but the devotees will never take service from Krishna. So if you're able to serve his devotees, then Krishna becomes more pleased with you because you're doing what he wants to do and he can't always achieve that because the devotees are all for you, none for me kind of mood. It's a very personal thing. It's not mechanical. And when it comes down to it, it's something we can all appreciate and understand, that if you have appreciation, love for those things that somebody values very highly, then there's a natural rapport that you'll develop with them. That's the idea. I have to stop because today is a special day. Every day is a special day, but today I have to stop. But since I have 3 minutes left, as many of you know, I'm married, and quite amazingly, I've had a spouse for 40 years? 40 years. And I just want to, first of all, appreciate that Krishna arranged for me an ashram where I could find steadiness and longevity, because I see different phases of my life in which I needed certain kinds of an environment, certain environments. And in that, I met a devotee named Nirakula Devi, who came highly regarded because I had no idea about how to get married. I never really thought about it. I joined when I was 16 with no designs on getting married at all. And I cultivated brahmachari life for 13 years. And wasn't well-informed, nor was ISKCON highly up on how to choose a wife or a spouse or a husband for that matter. It was just Prabhupada appointed a few people, said, here, marry that person or this person, and that type of thing. But others in the community there said, no, I think we have a winner for you. And one thing led to another. with taking step by step. And to make a long story short, my wife, for 40 years, it has exceptional qualities. One of them is that she's naturally averse to things that aren't related to Krishna. And that's been a great benefit for me, living with you for all these years, is that the subject that you're interested in is Krishna. And also, I noticed that you have a kind of a determination, I'd even say stubbornness, definitely say stubborn. Most stubborn person I ever met. But you engage it in service to Prabhupada because you're so stubborn that you won't give up the principles that he gave us, nor will you give up your allegiance to Prabhupada. I've noticed that some people equivocate and say maybe he's this or that, and Nirkul doesn't want to hear it. She's attached to Prabhupada. And also, I noticed that she's a very organized person. She ran her own business for many, many years and was always on time. People knew her. In fact, even the clients that she had, which are numerous, they still call her, write her, send her stuff, even though she's fully retired now. And they always think of her as somebody who is a very positive influence in their life. And I think of you as being a positive influence in my life. The most positive, I can say, because, when you're married, just FYI, for anybody who doesn't know, you have to be with a person all the time, and you get to know them quite well. And I could say that it's been a boon for me, because having someone who's unwavering in her practice of Krishna consciousness also keeps me steady. We're affected by our association. So I'm grateful, because today's your birthday, in case anybody wondered if I was just suddenly after 40 years, I just thought it'd be important to mention my gratitude to you for unlimited ways in which you support me. And we decided early on, even when we met, when the question came up about maybe this is a match and we're going to get married, we talked about our path in devotional service, that we're going to go for it together. We're going to work hard and try to do service for Prabhupada. And at the end, whatever needs to be done, we're going to do to go back home, back to Godhead, to help each other. And so you've done that for me in so many different ways. Going through the material world means you got to be really on the ball, because if you get behind on anything, financially, mentally, physically, then you have to make up for the deficit. And I can just say that she's been my biggest supporter in staying on the ball in all ways, because she's so organized and on the ball. So I'm grateful. I wish you unlimited more success, because your success is, I benefit. In fact, an astrologer told me before I got married, said, all your good fortune is going to come from a woman in your life. And then I married Nirkula, who's been like the goddess of fortune. Just give you one example. I don't like buying stuff. Well, I can't say that now, because stuff shows up all the time from Amazon. I don't know who gets it, but it's probably me. Things I need. But I had an old car that I was driving, and Nirkula said, get a new car. And I said, I want a new car. I'm going to drive this till it falls apart. She said, it already is. But then she said, well, just if you did want a car, which kind would you want? So I was at the old temple, and somebody, maybe they're still here, I can't even remember who it was, bought a Toyota Highlander and said, hey, why don't you sit in my new car and say a few mantras? So I sat in the car and said, this is a nice car. If I want one, I'll get something like this. So I went home and I said, yeah, I figured it out. If I ever get a car, it'll be a Highlander. So the next week, Nirkula comes home and he goes, I got a Highlander for you. One of her clients had a Highlander that only had 7,000 miles on it, and they only used it at their airplane hangar in Lake Tahoe because they have a plane. They had a plane, and they'd fly up there, and then they'd use that car to drive to their cabin and back. They said, we're getting rid of it. She said, I got you a Highlander. I'm just telling you the details of the story because that's how everything has worked in my life. I have paid attention to many things, a few things I have. But the ones that I didn't feel rose to the occasion of me paying so much attention to, she took care of. And so, she said, yeah, I got you a Highlander. We only have to pay this much, and we'll meet him next week, and there you go. And that's how it's all worked out for me. Everything always evens out for me, and it's because of Nirkula. So thank you very much. On your birthday today, I pray that I may reciprocate the unlimited ways in which you've supported me and given me good fortune in every aspect of my life. And may we thrive together in the final years of our life by renouncing all attachment to the material world and giving our full hearts to the chanting of the holy name, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, in the service of Srila Prabhupada and all the Vaishnavas. Om Tat Sat. Thank you very much. And you get a cake. Yeah, thank you. Speech. No speech now, because she'll just deny everything.
I'm shaking. I don't need a chair, Prabhu. I don't need a chair. How could you not love a man like this? It's my good fortune beyond whatever I deserved to have Prabhu as my husband. He's given me so much, materially, spiritually, and all of you, this community that he has put his heart and soul into for decades. And I'm most appreciative about that. We're very, very blessed, very fortunate. And I pray that you keep me in your prayers, keep me in your association, and please don't ever hesitate to let me know how I can be of service. It gives me the greatest joy if I can be of service to all and any of you. Thank you for all you do, for propelling Srila Prabhupada's mission, for taking it as your life and soul. I am so inspired by all of you that have a taste for what Prabhupada gave us and to want to give that to others. It means so much to us, especially as, we get older. I'm 71 now. And, you think of these things more at this age. Prabhupada was 69 when he came, and all he did in that decade. And Prabhu and I want to do that for Prabhupada. We want to do whatever we can. We want to, as Prabhu says, leave it on the field. Sports analogy. So that's our plan, to just keep giving our all. And you help us so much with that by what you do and by how exquisitely and lovingly you take care of us. I can't look at some of you. I can't express how much we appreciate and love you all, and thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. Now we have speeches.
We have only very little time. You can be seated, please.
Hare Krishna. Please take a seat. And our next speaker is one of our Keshura students, Kashvi. She will be presenting today. Mataji, okay.
Hare Krishna, my name is Kashvi, and today I'm going to be doing a presentation on the story A Critique Who Turned into an Admirer, from the book Disapproved But Not Disowned. Contents. Today we will be learning about the story of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Amogha's great offense, lessons we can learn from this story, and final takeaways. An ardent invitation. Wanting to serve the Lord, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya invited Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to take meals at his home for a month. Mahaprabhu politely declined, explaining that such an invitation was not appropriate for a sannyasi. However, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya continued to request and negotiate, changing the number of days from a month to 20 days to 10 days and finally to 5 days. Seeing Sarvabhauma's sincere devotion, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu agreed to take meals at his home for 5 days, making Sarvabhauma very happy. A fantastic feast. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and his wife Shatira carefully prepared a large variety of meal for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They spent a great deal of time cooking and making many preparations to welcome him. One lesson we can learn is that where there is love, there is no consideration of personal discomfort or exhaustion. Devotees extend themselves happily to serve the Lord. A loving push. As soon as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entered Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's home, he was amazed by the large quality and quantity of the food. He said that not even 100 men cooking on 100 pots could cook so much in so less time. However, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya immediately gave the credit to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, explaining that this would not be possible without his grace. One lesson we can learn here is that a devotee is always convinced that whatever he or she has accomplished is always only by the grace of God. An unexpected interference. As soon as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was about to honor the prasadam, Amoga, who was Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's son-in-law, came in. Instead of appreciating which with the love of the meal had been prepared, he made rude and blunt comments. He said that a sannyasi should not be eating this much and questioned why so much had been prepared. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya immediately grabbed a stick to chase him out of the house. However, Amoga was too quick and ran away. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya begged to be excused for this offense. One lesson we can learn is that intensive people are always blunt and bold in their expression and fail to value other people's emotions. An overwhelming regret. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately tried to pacify Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya by explaining that it was not his fault that Amoga had made such an offense. He also stated that whatever Amoga was said was actually correct, and a sannyasi should not actually be eating this much. One lesson we can learn is that just to show mercy on an offender, the Lord considers their unintended good and ignores their intended bad. An inevitable reaction. Amoga becomes sick. A couple days after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had left, Amoga became sick. A messenger came to inform Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that Amoga had become sick. As soon as he heard the news, he rushed over to Amoga. He put his hand on Amoga's heart and said, "The Brahmana's heart is a very proper place for the Lord to sit. Why did you let the demon of jealousy sit here and contaminate it?" However, due to the association of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, all your contamination is vanquished. So, Amoga, get up and chant. If you do so, the Lord will unfailingly bestow mercy upon you. In that moment, Amoga stood up and started chanting. He was dancing in Krishna's name and realized what he had done. To punish himself, he immediately started slapping himself on the cheeks until his cheeks were swollen. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately pacified him and told him that it was okay and he did not need to punish himself. One lesson we can learn is that pure devotees sincerely desire the welfare of others, of even offenders, and offer prayers to uplift them and endeavor bringing them into the proper mood. Here we can see that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu played the role of a perfect devotee by showing an example of this. A verse from the Bhagavad Gita. Anugvedakaram vakyam satyam priyahitam chayat swadhyayabhyasanam chaiva vanmayam tapa uchyate. Translation. Austerity of speech consists in speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating to others, and also in frequently reciting Vedic literature. This verse shows us that Amoga's words were rude, blunt, and inappropriate. To avoid such consequences, we can make sure to always be compassionate to other living beings so that we can avoid the offense that Amoga had made. Conclusion. In conclusion, the story of Sarvabhauma, Amoga, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches us the importance of humility, respect, and proper speech. Without understanding the entire situation, we should not start judging or making rude comments. It shows that criticism is an offense can lead to downfall, but how forgiveness and transformation can transform a person's heart. This story encourages us to follow the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by being compassionate to every single living being. Thank you. Any questions or comments?
That was amazing.
Thank you.
I feel like a force of a hurricane came from you. Partly it was because you knew the material so well that you felt confident. So you stood very solidly there. And I also noticed that you were using your hands, your voice, in some places it became very forceful. And it had a dramatic effect. It's like you were in a play and you were rising to the occasion of the different elements of the play. I think you made a lot of nice points and it flowed well. I was curious about what your process was for preparing for this. What did you do to correlate the kinds of ways that you were demonstrative, you gesticulated with your arms and things like that? How did you prepare?
First, I had to make the material. Obviously, I read the chapter and tried to find the most main points that can relate to us in our normal life so that we can use this presentation to help us not be criticizing people and always seeing the good in them and being compassionate and, carrying on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings. So I did that. And for the speech, I kind of just memorized whatever I had written down or whatever points I wanted to make. And yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
I was curious if you felt going through this process prepared you for public speaking in other places. As an example, let's just say you got invited to go to some sangha and they asked you to speak on a topic and then you thought of this one. And say you didn't have the PowerPoint.
Right.
How confident would you feel on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most confident, to be able to speak on it extemporaneously, having prepared so much at this point?
Probably 8.5 because I've memorized most of it. So I think I would be able to probably figure it out even if I got stuck in some places.
Is it something you'd look forward to trying sometime?
Yeah, yes, of course.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I think you have a very bright future in
Thank you so much.
teaching Krishna consciousness to other people because of your presence and the way you prepare and how articulate you are. So please keep up the good work.
Thank
Hare
you
Krishna.
so much, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Anyone else has any questions or comments for Kashvi? Okay. Thank you very much. And Kashvi is...
Hare Krishna. Kashvi, this is a wonderful class. Thank you for picking up this such a relevant topic. We see this almost every day, that we have people around who do not like devotees for one or the other reason, right? So what advice would you give to us if we go out for book distribution today and somebody says something, criticize our guru or Srila Prabhupada or our system as a whole?
I think I'm not I don't have the power to give such advice, but if I had to say something, I would probably say that whenever we get into this situation, we should always chant, because chanting is honestly gives us solution and power for anything. And we should always remember that everyone is part and parcel of Krishna. So eventually they'll find their way and eventually they will become a devotee or whatever their future lays ahead of them. And since everyone is like part and parcel of Krishna, we should always think of them as a part of Krishna and always feel compassionate for them, no matter what they do or say. And yeah, that's what I think.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Anyone else has any questions? Oh.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much for the presentation. I was curious, as part of this pastime, what was the, were there any further details that you can maybe provide on the attitude of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's wife? What was her reaction when Amogha did something like this?
So basically, her reaction, she was also like the same as Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. She was completely surprised, and she was like, understood that this was such a huge offense. And she was definitely, at that moment, she definitely did not like Amogha at that moment in time. But I think Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us that we should always be compassionate to other people, even though no matter what they did. So I think after they took Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's example and they were able to be compassionate to people in like situations ahead.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Kashvi. Thank you, Kashvi. And I wanted to thank Khushi Mataji and Tarang Prabhu, Kashvi's parents. They're always here helping whenever we see any festival, Prabhupada, Vyasas and decoration. That's Khushi Mataji and Tarang Prabhu behind it. So very, very grateful for their service. And thank you for bringing. And now the announcements. Bhakti community.
Thank you. This is a friendly reminder that Bhakti Community is a program for newcomers, especially non-Indian newcomers, to welcome them and to help them hold their hand when you give books, especially for the book distributor. We are really on standby. We have a great team who have joined us recently, and they are looking to be buddies with the newcomers. So we call them as a buddy team. There are many, many buddies waiting. So if you have newcomers that need help, please bring them on to Bhakti Community and sign them up on bhakticommunity.com and bring them in our in-person program, which is happening very, very regularly on every Friday. And one of the greatest speakers that we have and a very most friendly speaker that we have on this session is Eka Chakrapran. You know, you all love him. Eka is sitting here. And he does a wonderful job with the newcomers. He holds their hand. He gives a very simplified class. Last night he talked about why do we need a guru in our life. And so many newcomers were very inspired. They asked very foundational, fundamental questions. He answered them so nicely. I wanted to ask him if he can speak a few words about the Mantra Zone program that we do every Friday. Eka.
Good morning, everyone. So who here would like to bring more people of a diverse background into our community? Who here would like to increase the effectiveness of our book distribution efforts? And who here would like to come to a great party every Friday night? I saw a lot of hands. Well, you can achieve all three of these aims simply by supporting Bhakti Community. Pavani Bhakti and J.M. Prabhu have opened up their home, created a very welcoming and comfortable environment for newcomers, people who might not be ready to come to the temple. So when you meet people out in the world, please remember to invite them to Mantra Zone on every Friday night. And please come and join us yourselves. It would be so nice to see you there. I know that preparing the prasadam is a big responsibility for Pavani Bhakti, so if you'd like to support in that way, if you'd like to come and make friends and then keep in touch with the newcomers on a regular basis, we found that when you really make a personal connection and give your heart to someone, that will bring them in closer than anything else. My experiences there have been incredibly positive. It's amazing to see everyone coming together in kirtan and We'd love to have you join us. Thank you very much for your support, and thank you for including me.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Our team of Sankirtan devotees actually are just going out of their way, literally. They are in Portland, Oregon. They are in Yosemite, Lake Tahoe. Now they're also planning to go to other places such as Austin, because they want to meet different kind of people and want to increase the influence of this book distribution everywhere around the world. And I don't know if you are in part of the Weekend Warriors group, but the sets are flying. There are print sets, there are digital sets everywhere, and to people who have never heard of Srimad Bhagavatam before. Very, very new, brand new people. Some of them have read Bhagavad Gita many, many years, but have not ever come across Srimad Bhagavatam. So Bhagavatam can appeal to everyone. And we are in a very fortunate place, very advantageous place here in Bay Area. I'm just coming from China yesterday night. I came back and I see that we have unlimited opportunities here to distribute books, because not so much in other places, very difficult due to many other conditions. So we should feel so grateful for the opportunity that we have to distribute. And I just wanted to share that if we just think of how we can present books to others, then Krishna presents opportunities to us. I was flying back from China, and then there was someone sitting next to me. I was so tired because of the jet lag for the whole week. So as soon as I boarded the flight, I just slept. And that person was looking, when will I wake up, or I guess something like that. As soon as I woke up, he just started talking. And then I realized that he's actually a very big business entrepreneur. He has a $100 million company. He does some manufacturing, some furniture, very successful businessman. And it happened to be that he's from Iran. He speaks Farsi. And when he was talking about his business, I said that I also volunteer for a non-profit organization business, and our business is to print and distribute literature, and in fact in all languages, and we also print in Farsi. And then he says, really? And then I said, yes, can you send me the Farsi books? So he immediately gave me the address where he wants me to ship, and then he said, I will send you a donation, because I mentioned that we print books, we don't sell them, but we distribute them and ask for a donation. And then he said, yes, please send me all the Farsi books that you have, and I will send you a donation. So I felt very fortunate to be able to have something to share, because in Bhagavatam, even Hiranyakashipu mentions to his family members that we are like just travelers who meet and then we depart after meeting for some time. I was meeting that person on the flight, and we had to depart. But there's one thing that could be connected is the books. If you have something to offer, which they can take over later as well. So everybody has an opportunity. This entire world is an opportunity. And last thing I want to say, last but one thing, is that my spiritual master, His Holiness Radhanath Swami, mentioned that Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he mentioned that if you see that there are many different, wherever there is a greatest need, is the greatest opportunity. So we see so many things happening in this world, wrong, right, whatever it may be, but that's the greatest opportunity for us to share Krishna consciousness and the Srimad Bhagavatam. And this month is the Bhaktivinoda Thakur month, as His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu mentioned, that this entire month we are just going to focus on distributing Bhagavatams ourselves, and more importantly, finding someone who we can influence to distribute Srimad Bhagavatam. So Hansapriya has a very special announcement regarding that. She took this very seriously to her heart, and she has something that she wants to share. She's recruiting like thousands of influencers.
Hare Krishna. And actually, where is my influence power comes from? There you go. So when you think of 7-Eleven, what do you all think of? Store in 24 hours. Convenient. Right? Anything you want is available. Yes, Prabhu.
7-Eleven, I think about Guru Ma's birthday.
Haribo. That's the right point we wanted to come to. So, as you can see, that Guru Ma has been so conveniently there touching your heart. She has influenced you some way or other. 24 hours she is available whenever you need. And her love has actually empowered you or lifted you up at times. Do you agree with me so far? Are you all with me? Okay. So what you can do to give that love, the moment she has touched your heart, the moment that she has helped your family, this struggle of out there, how many times you have bumped into and have been saved. So you have all the power coming from her to influence 7 or 11 people. So and it's easy. All you have to think of her. And what she thinks of? Prabhupada. What Prabhupada thinks of? Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So you have all the powers. You have 3 charms with you. You go out, touch the 7 people or 11 people. And you can influence them. How you have been influenced by Mother Nirkula. So you can do this. And it's possible. And I can tell you, I'm not joking. Look at that. You see this? I close my case. So I have this many devotees have signed up for 7 or 11. And they're going to influence that many devotees. They're going to empower, inspire, encourage, and be there how Mother Nirkula has been there for you. So go out and knock the world. Okay, so how you can do it? We have cards here that has 7 or 11. You can check one of that option off. And in the back, little prayers that you can write for her. And if you have more power, you can write behind the 7-0 or behind 11 the 0. You have all the blessings. So please go out and do the best you can. And we are here. We have actually support system. We had Rasheshwari call me and said, I never went out on book distribution. How can I do it? And I said, you know what? E-books. You can do e-books. Because you're talking to the students all the time, and the students likes e-books, so you can do it. Then Sukeshwari said, yeah, I can do it. And I said, yeah, you're doing the US, hardbound. So she's doing 250. So don't limit yourself to the e-books in books for India or US. Whatever you need, whatever you can, just go out, give it freely. And there is a charge for the case. So please, if you need any help, Malini is there. But I know that you can go out and do this. Tomorrow, bring it here at 6:30 p.m. Tomorrow before Youth Jam. And we will offer all these cards to Mother Nirkula. And she'll be giving you cookies. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Hansi. Don't worry if the people who you're influencing are fully distributing or not. If they agree that they will try, that's a big success. So don't worry about so much about it. Just give it a try. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Okay, so next program, we have a prasadam packed and ready to go, so you can take it to go, because we do have another event today later at 10:30. So at 10 o'clock, we would like to set up the temple hall and the parking lot. So we want to make sure that you have a wonderful feast. It's a Dwadashi and also Mother Nirkula's birthday. So you have a pav bhaji, biryani, and gulab jamuns are all ready to go. So you have something exciting to, and please make sure that if you have invited some guests, they come meet us at the registration, and Shraddha Mataji and Malini are taking all the guests in, and they will take care of hosting them with Shri Gopal Prabhu. Anything else, Shri Gopal Prabhu? Okay, thank you very much. Prasadam prayers.
Ekadina Shanti Pure Prabhu Advaitara Gare Dui Prabhu Bojane Boshilo Shakori Ashvadana Prabhu Bole Bhakta Gana Esha Krishna Ashvadilo Heno Shakasvadane Krishna Prema Aise Mane Se Preme Koro Asvadan Jada Buddhi Parihari Prasad Bojana Kori Hari Hari Bolo Sarvajan Baire Kabu Madhavendra Puri Prabhu Prasadana Korena Bojan Kaite Tara Ailo Prema Sudurba Bole Shuno Sanyasiragan Moksha Ganta Pulabari Yali Dana Chakshari Shachi Mata Kori Lorandan Tara Shudha Bhakti Heri Bojana Kori Lohari Sudha Sama E Anam Gyanjan Jogi Jogi Pai Jaha Bhoge Aja Betaha Hari Boli Kausa Devahai Krishnera Prasadana Sri Jagat Kori Danya Tripurari Nache Jahapai Tripurari Nache Jahapai Mahaprasade Govinde Nama Brahmani Vaishnave Sabba Punya Patam Rajan Vishwaso Naivachayate Prasade Sarvatikana Manirasyo Pajayate Prasana Cheta Suyashu Buddhi Parya Vatishtete Tvayo Pupita Sraganda Vasavankara Charchitaha Uttishta Bojino Dasa Tavamayam Jayemahi Shukham Paryushitam Bapi Nitam Vadura Deshata Prapti Matrena Bhoktavyam Natra Kala Vicharana Na Desha Niyamastatra Na Kala Niyamastata Praptamanam Durtam Shashtar Bhoktaram Hari Abravit Bhagavat Shri Mahaprasada Ki Gopremanande Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. What the yogis attain after 10,000 years of meditation, today we'll achieve in one sitting by honoring the prasad of the Lord. Go Premanande Haribol. Please come take prasadam.